All right. I believe they can hear me now. Mama, talk real quick. Okay, can't hear there. Coo, 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 coo. We all ready to party with you. Going live. Check me out. Make a post. Sing it out. If you're watching, please share. Write a post. Oops, turn it down. Turn it down because I'm loud. Almost too loud, some would say. But that's okay. Streaming about Dungeons and Dragons today. What I have done with my, oops, no, I lost it. Streaming about Dungeons and Dragons. What I've printed with my 3D printer so far. And all the fun stuff we have planned in the future. If Lulu can behave herself. I've gotten, yep, a Twitch alert. If you're not following me on Twitch yet, be sure to follow me on Twitch. And YouTube. Evidently, I can get money off of YouTube. Which we'll be talking about that in the near future as well, because I will be asking for tips to fund my nerdery. To fund my nerdery. All right. There we go. That's rolling. Facebook is rolling. Man, we are doing pretty good. Ooh, the Facebook stream is like a full, oh, never mind. It's a full minute behind. Like 30 seconds. I gotta figure out what that delay is. But we'll get to it eventually. Hopefully. We will see. Oh, but we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. And I'm very excited about it. We had a lot of fun this weekend. And that's what this is all about, having fun. Blowing the steam off. Even Sabrina got to have fun this weekend. Got to play. Did you play games? Or did you just stay up and talk? She got to have a girls' night. A good holiday weekend for everybody. Good holiday weekend. Nice, relaxing weekend. All right, we're getting into our final countdown. And go. Hey, everybody out there and Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube land. Welcome to the Big Bad Nerd Dad stream. Super excited to come to you today because we did a lot of really fun stuff over the weekend that I want to talk about. What we'll be moving forward with in the future. So if you haven't been paying attention to the stream for the past couple of days, at least for this past week, we had a lot of fun. We've been having a lot of fun with Heavy Gear. It's a 25-year-old PC game that is now a miniatures game, and I love miniatures game. Miniature wargaming is one of my favorite things to do. assembling models, painting them, playing the game. It's all one great big hobby for me, and I absolutely love it. And then I was gifted, what was it, Tuesday? Earlier this week, a friend of mine gave me a 3D printer. And never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would have my own 3D printer. So I've been playing with this 3D printer. Friday night, Big Bad Nerd Mom went out to a friend's house so that they could have a girls' night. They had their girls' night. So I was here at our house with our girls. Hey, Miss Esmeralda, thank you for watching. So they went out, had their girls' night, and I got to stay here with my girls. Put one of them to bed, and the other one just wanted to stay up and watch movies with Papa. So we stayed up and watched Hocus Pocus, and we watched Nightmare Before Christmas, and another, The Haunted Mansion. And then she started to doze off, and that's when I was like, all right, now I'll go play with the 3D printer. Because all of the Big Bad Nerd Dad stuff has to be done after hours. But I got the 3D printer set up in about 3 or 4 hours because I couldn't figure out drivers, and I was going into it blind, but I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot. And I got the chance to print some things out. So the first model that I printed out is this super cute axolotl fighter. Let me give you a close-up real quick. An axolotl fighter from, wrong one. Battle. It's an axolotl fighter from Dice Head Miniatures. And I mean, the printing quality is amazing. It came pre-supported, so there were little supports on it, and I should have left one with supports on to show y'all, but I'll work on that. Look at this little guy. I mean, he's got little dimples on his forehead. His tail has little bips and bobs on it. There's stitching in the top of his little hood. And this is exactly what it looks like after I've cleaned it. It's two pieces. The base and the model itself came in one little file. And I printed them out, cleaned them, took off all the supports, and then glued them to this base. But he came out really good, and I really like these cute little models, and I was looking through them, and as I was looking through the models, Lulu, my 3-year-old, was like, oh, look at the super cute fox. I really like this fox. Because Lulu loves to paint models with me. She'll sit down for hours and paint models, assemble models, just watch me as I'm doing things, and I love the quality time because it's just a big nerd and a little nerd sitting down doing nerd things together, and I absolutely love it. So I printed out her little fox just sitting back here, and this I've primed it. It took paint real well. No, it's kind of hard to see because it's black, and behind it, give it a little more light. Maybe that'll help. But it is a beautiful model. Tons of detail, little bitty details. There's creases in the clothing. It popped right out off of its supports. I should have cleaned it up a little bit better. I'm going to do that for Lou. So that she's going to paint this model. This is their Kitsune monk. A little girl fox fighter. She's super cute. Dice Heads makes these. I'll have a link up on my Facebook page, and I'm going to post a link. I'll have a link up on my Facebook page. They're doing a Kickstarter that starts tomorrow that I am definitely going to jump onto. And I think it's going to run for a full month, so that gives me time to put a little money in my pocket and then do the Kickstarter. But they're going to have like over 100 different miniatures for 30-40 bucks. So you're paying less than, I think they said it comes out to be like 30 cents a miniature. And then they have terrain, and not just these little guys. Like, this was a free one. If you go to their Facebook page, you can print this little guy out. They have an owl, a frog, for free. And then they have this amazing scenario called Porcus Rising, and it's a 5th edition D&D complete scenario, and it comes with a big bad creature. Hey, Sabrina, thank you for watching. That's Big Bad Nerd Mom in the Facebook. But I printed out the big bad, and look at this guy. I mean, he is massive compared to these, and he's free. This is a free STL model that they gave away, and along with this free model, they also gave away the module. See if I can get that to spark up. There we go. I mean, he's super detailed. He's got this little bad belt, quarterstaff. He's got a spell in this hand, a spell in this hand. He's got 4 hands. He was 2 pieces. The base is its own piece. You see, he's got like little piggy skulls on it. He's Porcus. I'm guessing it's a play on the Dungeons and Dragons Orcus god. But absolutely free. All I had to do, I signed up for their mailing list, which I was like, I already signed up for this one for their mailing list. Put in for this so that I could get this model and the module, and I ran the module yesterday. And then when Lulu said she wanted the little fox, I was like, well, I want a model. I want a model too. I want my own model. So I got this. This is the axolotl fighter. He's really cute, chibi. This is the axolotl barbarian. Big old massive character. I actually sized him down a little bit on the 3D printer because I was like, oh, he's gonna be a big boy. I don't want him to be too big. So he's sized down about 5-10%. I can't remember what I did, but he came out beautiful too. Tons of detail on him. But I actually got a chance to run the Porcus Rising module yesterday for my good friend Brandon and his kids. We started it off. They made it partially through it. I'm not quite sure how old his sons were, but they're both elementary school. And it was his 2 sons, and then 2 of his friends were running it because they had never played Dungeons and Dragons before. So it was a beginner class on how to play Dungeons and Dragons, and we had a good time. The kids were very, very interactive. The other adults that were playing for the first time were learning how to play, and I think that Dicehead did an amazing job. 1, with their miniatures, and then 2, with that scenario, and with their Kickstarter. If you do the Kickstarter, you get, you know, it says 72 plus. It looked to me like 100 something models, not including stretch goal models that'll pop out as well. But if you do a little bit extra on the Kickstarter, if you give them a little bit more money, they go back into their library of files, and there's even more of these little guys, these super cute animal characters that you can pick up as well. And it's perfect for getting kids into Dungeons and Dragons. And the name of his setting is Zuntalis. And it's super cute. It's got a really cool animal adventure vibe. There's already a supplement out for sort of this kind of adventuring called Umblewood. And I was gifted that setting a couple months ago, so I had been looking through it for something that I want to run my daughters through. And then I've got a couple of other nerd dads that have daughters as well. So I was like, oh, I can train Lulu to be a dungeon master, and then she can run a game for all the little girls, all the nerd dad girls, and then we can do a double game night where the little girls are set up at one table and then all the dads are at a different table. I think I'd like that very much if Lulu can get into it, and I'm sure that she will because she's already a fantastic storyteller. But I'll have a link up on my Facebook page with the Zuntalis Dice Heads link for their Kickstarter and for their My Mini Factory. Getting into this 3D printing, I've learned quite a bit in a few days, simply by joining their community and asking questions. What's the right setting for printing out miniatures? What's the right setting for my particular printer? How to handle the resin, things like that, things I had no idea about, simply because I didn't want to bother my friends over at the Aegis Creative Company, who are doing awesome, amazing things with 3D printers. I'm not going into business with 3D printing. This was just something that was gifted to me, and I wanted to try it out. And this will be for side cute projects, because I've already commissioned them for another project for my RPG to help run stuff. But that's what I did yesterday. I printed out these 3 yesterday, and then Friday night I printed this one out. Oh, it was technically Saturday morning because I had a rough time printing things out at first, because there was all kinds of driver issues and things like that, which eventually I figured out through going through the community files. Another thing too is that this little guy was free. They have bases, 25mm bases, that are absolutely free. This one looks like a cobblestone. And the really cool thing about these is that it looks nice and shiny. From a distance, you cannot see the layer lines. Like 3D printing is done in layers. You can't see the layer lines. Like even on these bigger models, I cannot see the layer lines, and it is phenomenal. Like something that I would buy out of an actual store. Can't see the layer lines. And then this one, you kind of can see the layer lines, but only at just the right angle. Phenomenal job. Dice Head Miniatures, you did a phenomenal job. Absolutely love your work. I can't wait to not only do the Kickstarter, but to also be a Patreon. I don't know what it's called. I'm signing up for the Patreon. I already asked the Big Bad Nerd Mom for permission. Later this month, we're going to sign me up, and then that guarantees me at least 7 models a month of these little animal models, 7 different new ones every single month. And then each month they also give you a new scenario, which I was talking over with my friend and his kids yesterday. He wants me to come out once a month and run a scenario for them. So I was like, oh, cool, this is a new campaign. I really like the writing. I like the ideas that they have. There's a lot of flexibility. And then there's still ways to keep the people on track for what's happening within the story. But I've moved them into something that's not exactly, oh, thank you for giving me loves and kisses, and it looks like looks like Miss Oakletree is giving me likes and reactions. Thank you very much. Absolutely love these miniatures. I'll be painting these up throughout the week. Again, Alex, thank you very much for watching. Lulu will be painting her own miniature. I will be painting my miniature, and then I'll actually be painting this one on the stream. The Big Bad Porcus. I'm sorry, Porcus. P-O-R-C, Porcus. U-S, Porcus. Super cute. And when I was printing him, I was like, oh my gosh, he's huge, he's humongous. I hope my printer can handle it. And the printer handled it phenomenally, like way better than I was anticipating. All of these miniatures, there's no failure. It wasn't hard getting them off of the printing plate. And I really attribute that to the work done by Dice Head Miniatures, because they're just beautiful, even unpainted, like super detailed, really neat looking. You can see them a lot better when they're not primed. These are primed black so that me and Lulu can paint them how we want to paint them. but I might actually prime him green. I need to go do some source reviews to see what colors axolotls can be, because I want to try and be true to form. Like Lulu's little fox, I don't know how she's gonna paint it. She mixes colors and does all kinds of crazy stuff, and she's 3, so it is what it is. Hi Ashley, thank you for watching. So I'm excited for that, and starting out my new adventure with my friends running through Zuntalis. Speaking of which, we have quite a few things going on over the next couple of months for my live streams and for our extra life events that we're doing. In October, I will be doing a fundraiser for the stream itself. I need a new computer. I need a couple more cameras. And as much as I like to fund that myself, I got kids, I got a wife, I've got bills and things like that. And the community has already raised up and given me all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to be doing just like a little drive to see if I can get, if anybody has any spare video or audio equipment. I could really use new lights for when I'm doing the big streams. Like my good friends Joe and Hannah have given me these little studio lights that I use for when I'm right here in front of my camera, and they're great. They're fantastic for right here, for when I'm painting, doing things right in front of me. But when I have people over and we're out in the front room and over a big table, I need bigger actual show lights. So we'll be doing a fundraiser for that next month in October, probably around Halloween, where I'm going to invite some friends out and play some games and do the fundraiser that way. The games that we will be playing will be games that I really, really want to try and fit into the 24-hour stream, but there's just no way. I have dozens of games that I want to play with dozens of people that want to come out and play with me, and I want to play with them too, but we can't have too many people over here at one time. It's just me, my wife, and our kids in this little house. But we want to maximize our time with our friends, because this is what we're here for. We're here to have fun, play games, and get the community pumped for doing this kind of charity work. Workus. That's better. But isn't that amazing? For free. This guy was free. This guy was free. This guy was free. And then I paid less than $6 for these two. And I have the files now, so I can make as many of them as I want for myself. I will not be doing this as a side job. Any and all 3D printing that you want done, I highly recommend going through the Aegis Creative Company. The Aegis Creative Company are my friends, a sponsor, pretty much brothers. They've helped me out so much. They're the business that you should be going to. They're the small business that you should be going to for all your 3D or regular printing needs. They do sublimation printing and all kinds of stuff. They're very, very helpful and very, very creative. Right there in their name, the Aegis Creative Company, which we will be doing a shout out for later this week. So, with the games that we'll be playing, we'll be bringing back another one of my favorites, Frostgrave. And if you haven't seen my table that the Aegis Creative Company made for me, they literally printed out dozens of ruined buildings and sculptures and all kinds of crazy statues so that my miniatures can run around, hide behind them, fire off spells. We will be bringing back Frostgrave. This last 24-hour stream that we did, I was supposed to play with my friend, but he unfortunately had to back out at the last minute, which happens. These things do happen. And so I'm definitely going to find a friend or two that can come out to play, because as much fun as it is to play, I mean, it's perfectly fine to play solo. Solo play in this is very easy, very fun. I have fun playing it because it's just like playing an actual role-playing game, because the monsters are autonomous. They have their own things that they do, so you have no control over them. You can sort of herd them, kite them around, but they're going to move and try and kill you. Like, that's their objective in the game, is they're programmed to hunt, kill, destroy, which is fun. Like the zombie scenario that I played during this last 24-hour stream was a lot of fun, because the zombies were popping out pretty much all on one side. So I was like, well, I got to stay away from that side. So as I'm staying away from that one side, they started popping up on the different ends of the table, and I was like, oh, how do I get off the table? And so it was a lot of fun. I had a good time. The rules for this are up on DriveThruRPG. There's a great community for this following on Facebook. I highly recommend looking into Frostgrave. Beautiful, beautiful game. They're in their second edition. And it's fantastic. Streamlined, super easy to use, a lot of fun. And anybody can play this game. Anybody. It's everything. You only roll a d20. You roll one d20. That's it. And the rolls are opposed. You roll against your opponent. You roll against the monsters. And then throughout the scenario, you're hopefully picking up treasures. And then after you've picked up your treasures in the game, you get to go into the book and roll for those treasures. You could get gold, you could get magic items, you could get magic armor, you could get spells, gems, extra scrolls with different things that you may not know. All right. And then in their solo campaigns, which I've played through before, my favorite solo campaign that they have is The Hunt for the Golem, where you basically learn that a rogue magical golem has become autonomous and is just destroying all wizards. He does not like wizards. He's become self-aware, and he's like, a wizard created me and I'm ready to kill all wizards. And so you run around gathering information for the first couple of scenarios, watching them, fighting other groups that have been there before. And then you eventually confront the golem, depending on what you do in the scenarios. You can confront them, destroy them, or take them back for research purposes, which is really neat. And unfortunately, I've never done. I've either had to run away from him because he was too big, or I've been able to destroy him. Actually, my friend destroyed him when we played a 2-player campaign. So that was a lot of fun and interesting, and definitely something that I think that you should get into. And because of the way it's laid out, you can use anything for terrain. Like, I have this beautiful terrain that the Aegis Creative Company 3D printed for me, but I've seen people play with books and cans and shoe boxes and just random things that they have around their house, because all you have to do is break line of sight. All you have to do is have something to climb up onto. Very, very fun, and this is definitely something that we'll be bringing back for our 24-hour stream. Something else that we'll be bringing back for our 24-hour stream, Tiny Dungeon. If you've watched my past 2 24-hour streams, we've played Tiny Dungeon twice, and I absolutely prefer this engine over any other RPG engine currently. It goes Tiny Dungeon, Savage Worlds, and then everything else. It's so rules light. There's very few things to gum up the works. It's all about storytelling and playing with your friends and having a good time. And it allows for everybody to sort of put in and have their moments, because it's fairly easy to accomplish what you want to do if your player is capable of doing it. It's not like anything's impossible. It's all right, roll for it, try it, go for it, which is yay or nay in some other systems. But we will be bringing back Tiny Dungeon, because we had a good time playing that. And actually, we had a good time playing Tiny Cthulhu, which is basically a horror-themed tiny dungeon. So it takes place in the world of mythos. So Cthulhu, cultists, all different types of people coming out, having a good time, having a not so good time, doing crazy things, trying not to get scared silly. We used Tiny Cthulhu to run a game of East Texas University, which is a Savage World setting. But my group loves East Texas University so much that I wanted to take out all the bumps and bruises and clunkiness of the Savage World setting. Not that it's clunky, just that I feel like it takes a bit out from just role playing, and just use the Tiny Cthulhu engine to do it. And we had all of our players made college students with different majors, and those majors are what allowed them to do the things that they wanted to do in the game. They chose minors, family backgrounds, and everybody had a really good time. Miss Alex, who is currently watching via Facebook, was phenomenal in her second outing for an RPG. She did very good. Unfortunately, we did not have my good friend Joe at the table with us. He wasn't feeling well that night. Thanks, Hugh. Thank you very much for sharing the stream. Joe was not able to play with us, but Joe is somebody who I'm going to do more and more streaming things with as he figures out what he wants to do for his streams, because he's very much a video gamer, and he plays tons and tons of really fun video games. But when he comes over to my house, we play Heavy Gear together. We play Tiny Dungeon. He brings over all the cool new board games that I've never even dreamed of buying into. He's the one who showed us Everdell and Dice Throne. I got him into Exceed. So we've got a lot. We go back and forth. Oh, you should try this game out. You should try this game out. So once a month we're gonna do what's called Joe versus Schmo, where we play 1v1 games against each other just to see how they play out and do little reviews on them and what we think. The first game we'll be playing live on stream will be Heavy Gear. We absolutely love the game. We've played 3 games together so far, just so that we know the rules, and when we play on stream, we're not like, quick flip through the rule book. That way it's not so clunky. We want y'all guys to have a good experience watching us. And then my good friend Sean gave us tons and tons of 3D printed terrain to use for that. And you're looking at this terrain, you're like, man, that's neat terrain. But these guys aren't like Gundams. They're heavy mechs that are just a little bit. Oh, I put them away. They're just a little bit bigger than this dice. So these are full-size buildings. Like this is a stop and go. This is a gas station. So they're running around or on top of and going back and forth. This is their biggest mech, so I didn't want to use this one simply because he is huge, right? So he's as big as a building. He can see over buildings. And in Heavy Gear, the buildings are destructible, so we'll be working with that as well. And we definitely want to play up to those rules, because that just sounds like a lot of fun as well. But I'll be painting these up over the next few weeks, getting ready for Joe versus Schmo, because I do love my friend Joe very much. He's a good guy. Aside from playing games, we also just hang out to hang out, go to dinner, eat at weird exotic places. Like we went and had pho at like midnight a couple weeks ago, because they had there's this place on the south side of town that does pho till 2-3 o'clock in the morning. We're like, yeah, let's go there. Let's try that place out. So we'll be bringing Heavy Gear back as well. A game that I have got to finish my army for is Infinity. I'll be back into playing Infinity. I'm very excited for that. And playing with other people. I had several members of the Infinity community give me tons and tons of models. Just massive amounts of models. I have enough to make 2 armies. So I need to do that. And then something new that I'm going to be doing is doing reviews for Patreons. The dice head miniatures that I've picked up and I really like. You know, it's kind of hard to see, but look on there. The dice head miniatures. Beautiful miniatures. They have great scenarios that they've written that you can get in on. And their big bad tier, their Patreon is $9. It's less than $10 a month. You get a ton of really cute chibi models. You get the scenario, and then there's usually terrain and bad guys in their stuff. Like you'll get, I think it's like 4 or 5 hero models, a couple of bad guy models, and then some terrain pieces. And the Kickstarter looks amazing for it. I can't wait to do the Kickstarter so that I can get all these really cute, cool models. And that looks like a lot of fun. I can't wait to do that. And then Sean, my other buddy, is a Patreon for the Artisan Guild, which does 3D models. And so I'm interested in that very much because the Artisan Guild is where I got my Fishmen for Frostgrave. I was going to use these really wicked looking fishmen that are they look like something out of a H.P. Lovecraft movie. They're just deep tide terrors, and they look really neat, really cool. And then I found the Murlocs, and I was like, oh, I have to play Murlocs. Murlocs are my favorite. So I picked up the Murlocs, and that's what I've been using. Modros, the Pain Taker, and his Fishmen posse. And we're the good guys, right? They're not regular Murlocs, where they're bad guys. Just because I'm a bad guy does not mean I'm a bad guy. Build this camera down just a little bit. There we go. But very excited. Very excited to put these models out. I mean, look how big that model was. And this particular model, this Porcus, was free. Free for me to download, free for me to check out, to try. The module was free for me to try. And to me, I'm dumbfounded by that. Like, as a dungeon master who has worked hard his entire life building campaigns and coming up with worlds and bad guys and reasons why the bad guys are the bad guys, for somebody to come up with an amazing world with awesome custom creatures and sell them. Thanks, Jess. Yeah, I thought that was really neat. I think the model looks beautiful. All of the models are really cute. Again, that link will be up on my Facebook in a little bit. Dice Head Miniatures. If you got little kids, this is the perfect way to get them to playing Dungeons and Dragons, because it's Zoom Talus. His setting is made for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. This is a Oxlotl Barbarian. And this is the Oxlotl Fighter. You can actually see the details on him a lot better when they're not primed. He's got kind of like a shimmer to him. That's all the hundreds of little layers that it took to make him. The kind of shimmer he's got. He's not a shiny model. That's all the little edges of the layers on him. And you can almost see on the camera all the little layers. But just a beautiful model. 3D printed perfect. No issues. I had to clean them up just a little bit. Again, I'm learning how to use a 3D printer. This is Lulu's model. She's got a little fox. I primed her black. My resin is this gray. Primed them black. Because I can't figure out where my white primer went. But I wanted to prime them and paint them today. But unfortunately, we did not get to paint today. But I will be painting these two with Lulu throughout the week. And then next Monday, I'll be painting him live on the stream. We're painting the big bad on the stream. So I'm very excited about that. But if there's any other tabletop games that y'all guys want to see me play, drop a line in the chat. Make a note to me on Facebook. Send me a private message. I'd love to try out some new games. Like I said, I just got into this Zune Talis for 5th edition D&D. I'm running the campaign for my good friend Brandon. And if anybody's looking for a DM for hire, my services are still available. And also DM Dent, the gentleman who was our dungeon master for this past 24-hour stream, Dent is available to contract for DM for hire. Phenomenal DM, brings beautiful terrain, miniatures, everything's painted, ready to go, full immersion. And he's much more up to date as a dungeon master than I am. He brings a laptop with sound effects and everything queued up and ready to go for the scenario. I'm still making sound effects with my mouth and all the different character voices, which he did as well. He did do some character voices, but he brings a plethora of things to the table, and is a very good and ready dungeon master, which is something that I always look forward to when I'm playing with somebody. Is, are they prepared for the crazy things that me and the group are going to throw at them, or can they roll with it and not just kill our vibe while we're trying to play and have fun? Which Denth was absolutely perfect. I had the best time playing with him and the guys. They did a phenomenal job as well playing. All right, Jesse, you know what? I'm going to check out that Xena. I played Xena Shift. I love it, but I don't own it. I'm always using somebody else's Xeno Shift. So I will look into getting me a copy of Xeno Shift, because I love it. I think it's a phenomenal game, great game. And I'll see what I can do. Maybe I can get Joe or somebody else to come up and play it on the stream with me. But Xeno Shift, I'm going to make a note right here. What's my other notes? So y'all guys don't just think I'm blowing smoke. Xeno Shift to play. There you go. Per your girlfriend, Mr. Ortiz, Xeno Shift is on the list. We are going to try out a new RPG. It's almost like, what's it called? WarioWare. It's called Stewpot. Stewpot is this really funny RPG board game where you play an old retired adventurer, and you are trying to do different things to keep the people of your tavern happy. And you and your friends each own different taverns, and you're completing these side quests. And it's just like WarioWare. You play a different game to do. You're all playing the same game. You're all playing Stewpot, but there are mini games within Stewpot to play, and basically you're just trying to keep patrons while other people are trying to take your patrons, and they're trying to keep those patrons. So it looked like a lot of fun, something that I'd like to try out. I love a game called Tavern Masters, which is it's kind of the same premise, only you're all doing the same thing and just you play different people to keep patrons at your bar to acquire victory points. But I like the idea of the WarioWare, where you'll play different games to keep the patrons at your location. Like one of them is cooking food, another one is doing the dishes properly, another one is hiring the right band and bard to cover the entertainment for the night. Uh, Things like that. Things that a tavern master would do. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like that idea. And it's you're role playing the entire time with your friends. Like it's not just, oh, we're playing these games. It's you play the part as well, which is something that I really want to do. I want to make sure that we're engaging as much as possible when we do these kind of games. But Xenoshift Stewpot is on the list. Um, I've been fighting it because I don't want to play too many uh, video games on the stream. I want this to be a tabletop channel, but I've gotten deeply, deeply rooted into Guilty Gear Strive, and it's a fighting game that Guilty Gear is a game that I've loved forever. I mean, I've been playing it for 10, 15 years, and I know the game's older than that, but I might be playing Guilty Gear Strive late nights because it's just such a good game, and it's so smooth and beautiful to look at. And I want people to check it out because I don't think that it's getting enough love in the fighting game community. But that's definitely something that I wanna bring out, and I've got it on the Xbox already, so there's that. Oh, another thing too that we'll be doing, speaking about the Xbox, is playing more Monster Hunter World because we are now 1 year away from their projected release of the Monster Hunter World board game, which is being done by Steamforged. I believe it's going to come out sooner. I think they've given us that long 1 year, over 1 year time period um, to do what it's a typical sales tactic. You're gonna, oh my goodness, you're gonna promise low. The art is gorgeous. Yes, the art is gorgeous for it. You're gonna promise low, and you're gonna give them more. Right? They're gonna tell us that it's gonna take a year and a half, but they're gonna hopefully push it out sooner than that. Like I'm sure they had models, they had stuff already out playing. Granted, it is in England, so that's the one thing that I'm afraid of is that it's overseas. Um, and with everything that's happened with the pandemic in the past 2 years, over the past 2 years, uh, shipping may be the major issue, unless they're doing things stateside, which I think that would be the best thing in the world for them, especially since so many people did it. Um, I'm ready for that. I'm so ready for, and they're tweaking the game. Oh, they're tweaking the game. I was, I get the emails from Kickstarter, and they're talking about how they've changed the time deck and some of the time cards, which I was okay with it beforehand, but with these changes that they've made, oh, the gameplay just looks like so much more fun. Number one, and number two, it actually feels more like playing the video game, which Monster Hunter World is the only Monster Hunter I like from their franchise. I haven't played the new one, Monster Hunter Rise, but I didn't like the older Monster Hunters. Like they didn't appeal to me. I didn't like the loading into different zones, slowing you down while you're trying to hunt the monsters. I really didn't get the feel of killing the same monsters over and over and over and over again to get the armor and the parts that you needed to make weapons, things like that. But Monster Hunter World, for some reason, just clicked with me, and I could sit there and play it for hours and hours and hours, over and over and over, really hamming it up, killing this. I'll never forget killing the Diablos. I kept killing the Diablos over and over and over and over again because I needed the horns and I needed the back spine, and so those only drop every once in a while. Like that's something that you have to continuously grind for. And I guess back in my youth, I didn't want to grind for that kind of stuff. I didn't. That wasn't the gameplay that I was looking for. Now I want these specific things, uh, which is fine, right? It's okay. No big deal. Different strokes for different folks. I love it. I love Monster Hunter World, the board game. I think they're doing a phenomenal job with the game itself, making it feel like Monster Hunter World. Um, the models are absolutely beautiful. I'm on the fence about getting more of the models, simply because I already did the all-in pledge, so I'm getting everything that's coming out, everything, um, all the monsters, all the Kickstarter exclusives, all the extra hunters. So I don't know if I'm gonna have room for extra monsters. I think I'm just gonna paint them up in their most dangerous form and play them that way. Um, but you never know. I might get a wild hair and be like, you know what, let's do it. I want 2 Diabloses. I want 2 Rathalos. I want 2 of every monster. Or I might be gifted one. You never know. I have I have an amazing community of fans and friends and family that give me all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm very blessed. Joey Maldonado, thank you again for the 3D printer. As you can see, I'm using it just like you wanted me to, for good, not for evil. Printing up these miniatures for my buddy. Jesse, as soon as that game comes out, I'm gonna immediately start painting the miniatures, and I'm gonna play those games. I'm gonna play Monster Hunter World. It's got a campaign, so I'm gonna play the campaign by myself, and then I'm gonna play the campaign with Joe. I don't think Joe's not gonna be my friend over the course of a year. So Joe will be playing with me, and then it'll be added to my rotation for the 24-hour stream. Um, each 24-hour stream has a theme, except for the Black Friday stream, simply because that falls so close to my birthday. On Black Friday, I'm going to play games that I genuinely want to play. So we're going to play, this Black Friday, we're going to play Heavy Gear, and we're going to play East Texas University. We're going to play Frostgrave. Late in the wee hours of the morning, we'll probably end up playing some Survivalist or Guilty Gear, or maybe even World of Warcraft again. I had a lot of fun playing World of Warcraft with my friends. Um, Not Hearthstone. Hearthstone is not my cup of tea. But we will be playing some other games for the 24-hour stream that I absolutely love. I'm actually looking for a copy of the Street Fighter miniatures game. There's a Street Fighter miniatures game, and those minis are absolutely beautiful. They come pre-painted, and it's a Street Fighter war game where you play as the characters. Why wouldn't I want that? I grew up playing Street Fighter. I'm the Street Fighter champ. I love it. Play me, you'll see. But I'm looking for a copy of the miniatures game because I think that we need to promote these kind of games that are out there, that people have seen, or that people haven't seen. Street Fighter's miniatures game. There's a Mega Man miniatures game. The first edition didn't do very well. I think the second edition cleared up a lot of the rules and it's a lot more fun. So I plan on investing in that. Next month when I do my stream charity drive or fundraiser, when I do my fundraiser, that's what I'm gonna call it. When I do my Big Bad Nerd Dad fundraiser, to help me buy more games, to help me buy new audio visual equipment. That's what those funds will be used for, is picking up these kind of expensive games, and then treating them right, painting the miniatures, taking care of them, 3D printing terrain for the game instead of having the cardboard stuff, which I will be going to the Aegis Creative Company for all my 3D printing needs. Because they are the best. They know what they're doing and their stuff's dialed in. And I love those guys. So if you've had a good time, had no idea, yeah, I mean, there's tons of miniatures games that are out there that people like. There's a Bloodborne board game. There's a Bloodborne card game or Dark Souls card game. There's what was that game that me and Joe were talking about the other day? Resident Evil 2. There's a Resident Evil 2 um, board game. Miniatures are phenomenal, done by Steamforge as well. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game. The mechanics are okay, but they've like the community's come out with, hey, look, don't do this. It doesn't make any sense. Change it to this, and it makes the game way more fun and playable. So there's a huge, huge community of board gamers out there that are making these games that aren't good, playable, and fun. Uh, Helping out, I joined a Facebook group called Solo Board Gamers, where it's people that it's people that played the their games by themselves, which is what I genuinely have to do because either Big Bad Nerd Mom is asleep or I've got the girls, and so I can't play with a bunch of people over. So it's just me in the wee hours playing Arkham Horror or Frostgrave or all these other random games. And so I think that that's a phenomenal way to play. And then they tell you, hey, this is what you should do if you're playing by yourself, or even if you're not playing by yourself. This is what you should do to make the game flow better, or more fun, or more difficult. Maybe you want to step your game up and try something at a little higher difficulty because we're not having fun on hard mode. You want to hit that nightmare mode. But that is what we'll be gearing up for over the next couple of months as we get ready for our 24-hour stream on Black Friday. Thank you very much for checking me out. I hope you guys had a good time. If you liked me, please like the Facebook, please like the Twitch, please like the YouTube channel. I don't do too much on YouTube. I just keep the YouTube going because it records everything for free, and I can just go back and review my streams there instead of saving the video of the day off of my other ones. But eventually I'll start doing real YouTube videos edited and cut for content. But aside from that, thank y'all very much. I love you. Y'all have a good night. Remember that it is suicide prevention or suicide awareness month. If you know anybody that's hurting, if you're hurting, reach out. I do have a link on my Facebook page for the suicide prevention hotline. There's a lot of people out there in the world that are hurting right now. You may be one of them. I understand. Me and my friends, we understand. There are others out there that understand. We want to hear you. We want to listen to you. We want to be your friend. So don't think that you're alone, and don't try and